Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
We're back 3 weeks in a row.
I know. Aren't you proud?
I'm proud of us. We got to keep this going. There are a lot of shows. We were gone so long. There's a lot of stuff to watch, and we can just keep covering things as each show ends. We'll just move on to the next thing. And in a couple years, we might have some Game of Thrones stuff to talk about. Who knows? Actually, before we begin talking about Westworld,
we'll talk about Game of Thrones.
We do have a quick in memoriam from the Game of Thrones world. I don't know if you saw this headline.
I think I did.
We must report that Odin has passed away.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
I'm not talking about the Norse god, of course. We've all seen him die in Thor Ragnarok. I am instead talking about a dog named Odin, who played Summer the direwolf in the first episode of Game of Thrones.
Aww.
Little puppy.
Why? How come? What did Odin die of? Coronavirus?
He passed in his sleep after a restful and enjoyable final days. No, probably not coronavirus.
Could be. He could be the first dog to be diagnosed and died of coronavirus.
I doubt it, but
okay.
Good thought, I guess. No, I think he was just an old dog. Yeah.
I thought you said he was a puppy.
Well, in the first eepisode of Game of Thrones,
oh my gosh, it seems like yesterday.
I mean, remember Maisie Williams? She was a puppy too.
Yeah, it's true.
And now she's a fully functioning adult.
Aw.
Yeah.
Poor Odin.
Yep.
Poor Maisie.
We're going to pour one out for Odin later. I mean, of course, since it's a dog, it's going to be a bowl of gravy that we pour out. But
yeah.
dogs don't
you
like
gotta take
beer.
a sip too, right?
Of course. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Of gravy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll drink some gravy. I have no shame.
You don't like gravy?
I don't like to sully perfectly good mashed potatoes. If they're not good mashed potatoes, then fine. But
fair enough.
Anyway, we're here to talk about Westworld. First thoughts.
We watched Westworld.
Did you enjoy this episode? Things are really tense, I feel.
Yes, I kept... You're like right on the verge of your seat waiting for something important to happen.
And a couple things happen, but it's really all middle ground stuff. We're all building to something big.
Of course.
Yeah. Tonight's episode 3 of season 3, is called The Absence of Field. I haven't really figured out what that means yet.
Okay. Absence of field.
And I should just Google stuff more often. I Googled the Winter Line. I don't think I did that until after we recorded the episode 2 title. And it turns out that the Winter Line had nothing to do with Game of Thrones, but was in fact the nickname for this area of Italy that, was a big part of
the Winter Line?
The staging area for Germany and Italy in World War II. Yeah.
Huh.
It was called the Winter Line for whatever reason.
Okay.
I guess it could have been winter at the time. Yeah, so the absence of field. I don't know what that means. Field of depth, field of perception. I mean, this episode was heavily about Charlotte's perceptions, which is interesting.
It's a quote by Mark Strand. In a field, I am the absence of field. This is always the case. Wherever I am what is missing. Well,
Interesting. And his name is Strand, which was a name from last season. He was the head of security. Carl Strand. They knew this whole time. Maybe it's one of the writers or creators' favorite philosopher or whoever this guy is.
Interesting. Very deep. Okay, move on. Sorry.
That's what this show's about. The Game of Thrones episode titles were never like that. You didn't have to think about it later and go like, philosophically speaking, what is this title about? It was just about
and maybe they've referenced it in the show in a roundabout way, but I didn't catch it.
No, I didn't catch anything either. I was looking for it because I wrote down the title at the very top of my paper and they didn't, it wasn't something that came up. Okay, so this episode was pretty linear, and we usually try to go with like the A story and the B story, but since they intermingle, we're going to just start linearly until they break off.
We were in the same timeline the entire time, except for a couple flashbacks.
It's refreshing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
Nice.
It's okay to have a couple flashbacks.
Of course.
What
But let's not bounce between timelines and figure out, just leave us guessing.
Well, there was a show we were watching. What show was it? There was a show that was having like a flashback within a flashback, and I was getting really irritated about it. Or maybe, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or was it The Walking Dead? I'm trying to think of what
I think it might have been The Witcher.
It might have been The Witcher.
Or it could have been The Walking Dead, both of them. It's a theme these days. But you know what? Because all of this is happening in the computer, they can play any timeline they want, but not out in the real world.
I remember what it was. We were watching American Horror Story. It was the apocalypse season. And in a 12 episode season, 3 of the episodes took place in the quote unquote present, the current timeline, which was still the future, but whatever. And then the rest of the season was all in the past. And then we had all these past episodes, learning the origins of characters. And then some of those episodes had flashbacks in them. And it was just a little much.
Yeah. Some of those, and then they all connected. I don't want to ruin it for people, but they all, spoiler, ended up connecting to all of the original stories.
Yeah, if you watched American Horror Story, maybe a couple seasons, you're like, this is all right. And, I would say it's worth watching on Netflix if you need something to binge. They're all very weird, and they're not always the most satisfying, but it is really interesting and creative how, as time goes on, the storylines are getting more and more linked into the same universe.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of neat.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. The one thing that is difficult to follow at times is that they have characters that are all played by the same people.
Right. That's difficult.
Sometimes you're like, wait, which version of this actor are we looking at right now?
Maybe it's all a dream.
Hey,
have you ever noticed in your dreams, and I don't know, maybe nobody else is like this, but I will be several different characters in my dream. Do you ever do that?
I don't think I do that. Maybe you are a host.
We're all hosts.
That would explain a few things. What?
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Probably both. I mean,
okay.
You do have these weird days where you just don't remember anything that happened before. You could have been replaced by a replicant in the
I was probably rebooted. And it takes some time for all that stuff to fill back in.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so the absence of feel. Let's get this one started. We did have a cold open involving Charlotte. So we see her. We wind up flashing back to what I would believe to be the last episode of season 1, when Dolores killed Ford and they started the robot uprising, because it was chaos and Charlotte was outside, and she goes up to this dead host and tells him to reactivate himself, turn himself back online, and then starts recording a message for Nathan. Mm-hmm. And we don't know who that is yet, though we will by the end of the episode. So there's that. And then we get to more recent version of Robot Charlotte, where she's asking, "Who am I?" To Dolores. She's been brought back online. She didn't know who she was at first.
She certainly wasn't Charlotte.
And this is they're really going out of their way to not tell us who
she is, right? Yeah. Who is she? Who do you think she is?
I feel like it has to be Teddy. I don't know who else.
Would he act like such a child?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think so.
But you had a different theory.
I thought it was Clementine. Right. She acts very much like Clementine.
She was acting. Clementine has a sort of childlike innocence about her most of the time.
Right.
And this version of Charlotte was sort of exhibiting that in this particular scene. So I found that intriguing.
Now, she said, "Why does it have to be her? Or why do I have to be her?" Or something like that. Well, right. And that she tried to kill us all. And did Clementine know that?
Well, I don't know.
Was she aware?
I don't know what became of Clementine.
Well, she was the death robot.
Well, she was the death robot, but she had been lobotomized by that point. Remember, they go in through your nose and they pull out something?
Right, but I think there was a copy of everybody's shit down in the red room or whatever
maybe they took out Clementine's marble to put in the special code, and then Dolores found the marble.
So you think that the rest of Clementine wasn't destroyed, but she survived in a marble?
Everyone survives in a marble.
Okay.
Well, they got that bulletproof shell.
I think it's
around
Clementine, or was Clementine, and she was so weak that Charlotte just took her over. Now,
well, wait.
Okay,
we're a ways off from that. But
questions.
In this particular scene, we know, okay, so this person needs to pretend to be Charlotte Hale. And as you were saying, that was question of why she tried to kill us. It had to be this person because it's someone Dolores trusts. They need to control Delos. So
does Dolores really trust Clementine?
I don't know.
She didn't really know her. Dolores was a good girl from the suburbs.
I was trying to think about that. I mean, they certainly were near each other in Sweetwater a bunch, but I'm not sure if they ever had any meaningful interactions.
Dolores didn't really know many people.
But was Clementine part of Dolores's gang when the uprising started?
I think she might have been.
She might have been.
I remember seeing her on a horse and acting like a badass.
Yeah.
And when did she die?
I don't know.
Gosh. Oh,
I'm not rewatching season 2 like ever, so I don't know. But I mean, look, Clementine is an option. I think it's Teddy, but the way she was acting didn't seem very Teddy-ish. So, yeah. Okay, so they need to control Delos. That's why they need Charlotte, because it's the only way they're ever going to be able to make more of their kind. They're the last ones left. There are 4.
Yeah, so they just build more people, right?
Well, Dolores can build people in Bernard's old house. She has the building table, but I don't think she can make more marbles with the equipment she has.
What if they tried to have babies?
Well, do they have uteri?
I don't know, but
probably not.
Dolores could probably build one.
Dolores doesn't have platelets, so the boys probably don't have sperm in their, seminal fluid.
Okay.
There's probably no real sperm in there.
No, it's probably milk, just like they are.
Their method of reproduction would be to use a printing machine and put a marble in it. So there's 4 marbles on the table. So we know Dolores is already got a body, and whoever is in Charlotte, there's a marble in there, which means there were a total of 6 marbles that escaped the park. Dolores, mystery person, 4 more, and then one of those 4 is Bernard, whose marble was weirdly red for some reason. Maybe it was blood. I don't know.
I thought that was... I don't know.
But we know that one's Bernard because the robot, the mystery Charlotte, questioned it and was like, "Hey, what about him? Why'd you bring him along? He tried to stop us." Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Dolores put the little red one in a cradle, and it showed Bernard's stats and shit.
I missed that. Okay.
So we know that one's Bernard, but there's 3 other marbles, and one of them has to be Teddy. Teddy killed himself. She slept over the corpse for a while. I can't remember if we saw Dolores take out the core, but I think we did. I think we saw her remove the core from Teddy's head. Because I remember thinking about how it was in that case that's bulletproof. You don't see the marble.
I think you're right.
A white pod.
Was Charlotte a host all along? Was she a robot? Okay.
Charlotte was a human, but then Dolores was in Charlotte at first. That's how she escaped the park, and then she made herself. As a human,
no, she built a Charlotte.
Right, because Charbot killed Charlotte.
That's right. Okay, she built a Charlotte because she had a copy of her DNA because she was there.
Well, yeah, I mean everybody. There's copies of everyone.
Okay, caught up.
Right, so Dolores smuggled herself out of the park in Charlotte's head, then took herself out of Charlotte's head, built herself a new body, put someone else in Charlotte's head. What is Charlotte's head? That's a kid's book, right?
Charlotte's head.
This is all about Charlotte's head. Okay, so that all happened, but that, again, was still a flashback because that was before Dolores gave Bernard a new body, so that was, in between seasons, that whole scene about who am I and all that stuff. All right, we zip over to San Francisco, in case we weren't there already. I'm really not sure where the whole show takes place. I guess it might be all in San Francisco.
It seems maybe.
And we're at the Delos headquarters, and we see Charlotte meeting. I'm sure this is going to be important. This is Chekhov's gun, right? Like, we're meeting the riot control robot in the first act of the season, so they can use the riot control robots in the third act of the season.
Sure.
Right? Chekhov's gun. You're familiar with that?
No, but
okay. Well, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
I follow along.
Okay. Google Chekhov's gun if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then there's breaking news. A whole bunch of little corporations have been buying up Delos stock.
Right.
And it seems, as they're analyzing it, that this is probably all one coordinated effort. And in fact, these little companies have bought 38% of Delos' stock, which means they're trying for a takeover, whoever they are. And it means that they're not going to be able to take Delos private, because to take Delos private, you would need to buy back all the stock. And these people obviously aren't going to do that. So that's a problem. And at that point, Charlotte gets agitated and starts
cutting herself
with her thumbnail, I guess, slicing open a little bit of her forearm. It's the place where like Bernard cuts open his forearm.
Right. That's why I thought she was maybe looking for that.
Yeah. At first I thought she was like massaging that area, kind of playing with it. 'Cause like that's where the USB port is. Maybe it's just a nervous affectation. We find out there's more to it than that later, but yeah, she starts cutting herself. All right. Let's take a turn over to Caleb and Dolores. When last we saw them, Dolores had been shot in the gut and wasn't feeling so good. Caleb found her. He calls for an ambulance. Ambulance takes her away, and Caleb tags along because, of course, he does. And the systems inside the ambulance don't know how to treat Dolores because, as I was saying earlier, she has no blood platelets because she doesn't have real blood. It just looks like blood. Right. Probably tastes like corn syrup. Yeah. It's Caro, you know. She doesn't have like a proper pulse. Like there's all the system is very confused. And it seems that in this version of the future, and I can believe it, the computer makes all the decisions and the EMTs just have to implement what that is, which means they probably don't know that much about medicine. Helicopter going by. Hello, military base. Oh, that's a nice noise to have in the background of a podcast, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these guys really don't know what to do for a gunshot wound. Caleb's at least like trying to put pressure on it and stop the bleeding or whatever. He's trying to help her and tries to give her oxygen. But then his crime app buzzes. It's a good thing he has that crime app.
I know.
And I took a note. It said something about a cleanup in progress at the same time as the ambulance is being taken over by a police car. Like their systems like beep and then it says police something.
Right. They're like, we have a police escort, and
right.
Then they stop.
And the ambulance comes to a stop, seemingly not under their control. And Caleb knows that something's up because his crime app told him. And that winds up leading to a big fight. Dolores asks for help.
Right. She can't move. She's all weak. She's losing blood. She looks like a human would lose blood. And then all of a sudden she's able to get up.
She's got a little fight left in her. Or she rebooted herself. I think you were the one that posited that. She just needed a minute.
Yeah. She just needed to restore her life source.
I hope we get, I'm sure we won't, but I hope we get some explanation of the physiology someday because they're computers. Like, and we've seen Dolores get shot a bunch of times and have it not affect her. That happened in the last episode of season 2. So why is it affecting her now? It could have hit a critical system, I guess. But I think all the critical systems are in her head.
Maybe she improved upon her form so that she has more internal realistic organs.
Seems like that would be a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's
why isn't it like white? Like if you get shot and then, I mean, her flesh underneath her muscle would be white, wouldn't it?
Well, there's a layer of white. As we know, they get dipped in the milk bath.
What's the color underneath that?
Well, so
it's all white because they show it putting it on the
skin
bone
over the white. So the white is probably just like a thin layer on. There's that we know that they have that kind of mesh exoskeleton.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Why didn't they see that? Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't do surgery yet. They could only see the whole all the fake blood pouring out. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But Caleb winds up standing up to these guys and figures out that they're not real cops. Because he's smart.
Right, because the crime app told him.
He's the smart guy. Well, the crime app told him something was up.
No, he knew the cops were dirty because the crime app.
Well, and were they dirty cops or were they fake cops?
They were dirty.
We don't know
fake.
necessarily.
Yes.
Maybe it's all the same. But a fight ensues. The EMTs, of course, get killed. Caleb is like wrestling with one guy while the other guy goes for Dolores. And Dolores has one last burst of energy in her, doesn't she?
She just gets right up and...
She's still limping a little bit, but she stabs this guy in the neck with a scalpel and he's done. Mm-hmm. That was nice. Mm-hmm. And then she helps Caleb out, or that guy tries to get away and she shoots him.
Right.
So she is more or less okay. But she tells Caleb that he has to disappear now because they're going to be coming for him. And he wants to know who she is. And she says the less he knows about her, the better. She's thinking of him. It's for his safety.
For his safety, right. And I was just saying, now he's not going to be able to stop thinking about her ever. He's in love.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Already?
Already. I mean, psh.
She's a pretty girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's a badass.
Right?
He's a badass himself. I mean, former military, all that stuff.
They're perfect for each other.
Maybe he's got a thing for badass girls. I guess that's possible.
Who wouldn't?
But also, though, she's definitely trouble. But maybe that's not a reason to
Guys like trouble.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, back over to Charlotte. She gets something on her phone that I have written down as screech mail. Right.
I don't quite get that.
Well, it comes together sort of in the end. That we don't know. Well, a little bit. But at first, I thought it was Dolores trying to tell Charlotte something in like computer language. Mm-hmm. And Charlotte's like furrowing her brow at her phone. But I assumed that she was furrowing her brow at like, I got into trouble and everything's going to be okay. Meet me later or I'll call you or something like that. Everything's going to be all right.
I thought it was going to be some kind of like coded message that only
the robots could hear.
Right.
Right.
Nope. Just noise.
Nope. Just a screeching noise. Almost like an 80s modem returned. Okay. So smart lady from Delos comes up and tells Charlotte that they figured out who's behind the takeover, and it's this Sirach guy. They don't know anything about him. He's almost like a myth. Right. Yeah. But
we know about him.
Well, we know about him, but the real world, in this world.
Oh, right. He's not.
He's completely scrubbed his existence. Mm-hmm. And no one knows his name. Maybe he's a myth at best. But she said something like, if you analyze the world's economy, there's a black hole where like $1 trillion should be. Which means this guy is the richest man on earth, and then some. Yeah. She said something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's realistic, but okay. Hey, in the future, probably.
Yeah, we're in the future. We've already got people with what's Bezos worth? Like over 100 billion?
I don't know.
So it's not a stretch to think that someone's going to hit the $1 trillion mark eventually. No. So they don't know what to do yet, but they're working on a plan. They just know that they're in trouble, and Sirach has something to do with it. Later on, she's going home. She gets more screech mail. Furrows her brow again. And then she looks up at her apartment in the sky and sees someone in her house. So she goes in ready to kill. And it's Jake. We meet Jake, her ex-husband.
Right.
Yeah. She's confused to see him. He's about to say something like, you really don't remember. I think that's what he was going to say.
I thought he would say who I am.
Yeah, something like that. And then she jumps his bones.
Yeah.
Starts making out with him.
Right.
Well, I think that was probably a smart move.
Sure. You think it was a distraction?
If it was Teddy, I mean, I guess the Westworld robots don't really have a sexuality. So it probably doesn't bother him that he's not in his masculine body. Like,
yeah, that's not Teddy. No.
Well,
Teddy would never have done that.
That's where I'm going with that. So, I still think Teddy's the most likely answer. But if you put my brain in your head, and then told me I had to make out with some dude, I would have a real problem with that.
Right.
But I am straight. The robots are not straight. They will generally just sort of go with the flow.
Teddy's not straight? Teddy's only for Dolores. He's too...
Well, now that they're sentient, yeah, but I don't think the robots really see gender in general. Like, if Teddy's off on an adventure trying to stop Wyatt or whatever, he could have a romantic involvement. Like, he had that girl that he was going around with in season 1. He had a companion that was a cute girl. Maybe they were getting it on.
No, she was a human.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm just saying, in terms of how Westworld worked, he could have been getting on with her while they were on the trail, sitting around the campfire, eat some beans, and then fuck. But if it was a guy...
That doesn't go together.
And that guy came on to Teddy, beans and fucking?
Yeah.
Why not? That's how the Old West worked.
All right.
All beans and fucking. Yeah. But I think if it was a guy on the trail who wanted to come on to Teddy and have more than just a physical adventure, fighting adventure.
You think he would go for it?
I think
he
Teddy
would have to, right?
I think he'd have to, yeah, because the hosts are there to please the guests. So I don't think sexuality is a problem. I think all hosts are fluid.
All right.
That's my guess. But it was a pretty convincing performance. Teddy still is acting,
it's not Teddy.
With a body that's not his body. So yeah, who is it? I feel like Teddy might be too obvious. Like
it's not Teddy. Teddy can't kiss a man like that.
All right. And then the dude's like, shh, you're going to wake him. And she's like, who? And that's when things start to fall apart. She forgot about their son.
Yeah.
Turns out she has a son. So she goes to see the son. And side note.
Nathan.
His name is Nathan. Although I don't think we found that out in this scene. But yes, this is Nathan. The side note I wrote down was that in the future, there are no more elephants.
Right.
Did you catch that? Yeah. Elephants are extinct. And the kid seemed kind of surprised to see a dog. That's a bleak picture of humanity.
You're right. Yeah.
He was talking about how he got to pet a dog at the park.
Yeah. They're a rare commodity, I guess.
So she tries to say goodnight to the kid, but the kid knows shit ain't right. It's not his mommy. There's something wrong.
Well, she's a little dull. She's kind of monotone and confused.
Yeah, she's trying to figure it out, but she doesn't know everything about this kid. So she's not sure what to do. She tries to snuggle him. He says she's not doing it right. Yeah. So something's wrong.
They must have had they didn't copy her DNA very well.
I guess not. But she was corporate. She probably wasn't there, all the time as a guest. So they might not know everything about her. Not like Robobum. Okay. Next day, Charlotte's in her office. Someone comes in and a couple guys are saying, QA says that there are host control units missing. I assume those are the marbles. And one of them is Maeve, which seemed noteworthy to them. I don't know why they weren't concerned about the other missing marbles, but Maeve, they specifically pointed that out. They know it's an inside job. They assume that there's a mole inside Delos, probably connected to Serac. And then as they're all talking, Charlotte starts losing it. She was going into like a fugue state. It seemed like her face was kind of funny. She wasn't hearing these guys.
She was cutting herself.
Was she cutting herself during that meeting?
I think so.
She might have been digging into herself a little bit more.
I think so.
She had a funny spot on her face I don't think was there before.
Right. And Dolores later tried to wipe it off.
Did she? Mm-hmm. And it stayed? Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So she leaves there and she makes a call and she's going to go see someone in a hotel lobby and it's Dolores. Cool. So they've come together.
Finally.
The plot lines have merged. They meet up and we get more of the who am I stuff.
Who am I?
We know that she's been harming herself. She rolls up her sleeve and starts freaking out about how she's hurting herself and wonders what's happening to her. But Dolores calms her down with host commands.
Right.
Yeah. Take your emotional
If only our children would have that.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Let's just start saying that and maybe it'll happen.
Take yourself offline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I think all parents listening to this would agree. That would be great. Okay, so they go get a hotel room. We find the extent of Dolores' self-harm. There's these cool patterns of like a circle with a line
I wonder what
coming
that's
out
about.
of it. I don't know. That might be a symbol that comes up later, huh? It's not a fancy symbol.
Well, I feel like that was something that she had in her hand that she was scratching herself with. Like it was the same shape or symbol.
Oh, she did it. She was carrying, I thought it was like a nail and she was like stabbing her face with it or something. But you're right. She did have something in her hand.
And I thought it had that circle on it, but I could be wrong.
Shit.
But what is the meaning of that? And is maybe someday Charlotte is just going to rip all of her skin off?
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
She can rip herself down to the white or the exoskeleton or a little bit of each. Mm-hmm. I'm all for that. I'd love to see a little bit more of how these things work. So Dolores patches her up and, and then they start snuggling.
They spoon.
They spoon. Dolores says, you're very important to me. No more harming yourself. And Charlotte says, okay.
No, she said, you belong to me.
Yes, that's right. Right. So who's that? if it's not Teddy, who's that?
I think because she made her.
Could be.
I don't know. Maybe it's, did Dolores ever have anybody else there? Maybe it's William.
Young William.
Maybe it's young William.
Ooh, wait. Could you make?
You could.
I guess you could make a marble out of anyone based on the book that's in the library. You could make young William. That would be a good twist. Because again, if it was Teddy, you'd be like, well, duh. But if it was young William, that would be a good twist. Huh, I like that. I like that better than Clementine. Good thinking, babe.
It's not a young William. Because he again kissed
it could be
the guy. I just can't buy that Logan? That's not.
No, but she and Logan didn't have a relationship.
I don't know.
They weren't close.
We'll figure it out maybe next episode.
I vote young William. I think that's a great idea. What else? Where were we? Let's see. Charlotte tells Dolores about Serac. And Dolores says it's not going to be a problem because you're going to find out who the mole is. You're going to kill the mole. And then when it comes to this whole takeover thing, we're going to make a counteroffer. We're working on it. We'll figure it out. Okay.
Yeah. She makes everything okay.
She makes things better, doesn't she?
Always.
All right. So let's finish the Charlotte part of the show. That gets my vote. Charlotte takes a nap. Dolores is gone when she gets up. She goes back to work where she has to review a file. And this is where we find the fuller version of that message she recorded in the cold open, which was the message for Nathan. And it turns out that is in fact Nathan Hale, her son.
Right.
And the first thing we see there is that she wanted to sing to him in the midst of all the chaos, his favorite bedtime song, because she didn't have time the night before she left, which was You Are My Sunshine. Aww.
Right. Gives Charlotte a very
did that tell you your heartstrings?
No. Because Charlotte is a bitch. But at least they showed she was somewhat human.
A little bit, yeah. She gets more screech mail. And then she finds out she's late to go pick up her son. So she goes to the park. And we find Nathan with a creepy dude who's letting him pet a dog.
Right, just like that, Nathan. The guy's
he's holding Nathan's hand to guide the petting.
Right. He's like stroking his hand.
You just know that guy's got a pervy little boner in his
Gross.
jeans.
Stop that. Ew.
Well, I was just telling you something you already knew.
But I don't want to picture it.
Well, it's okay because what happens after that? So go play, little Nathan. I'll just need to talk to this dude for a second. And she chokes the motherfucker out.
Yep. Well, to death.
Oh, that was nice. Did he die?
I'm pretty sure he's dead. Sure?
He's probably dead.
He's dead. She took his dog. He's dead.
You don't take a living man's dog?
Never. You got to kill him first.
She kills this guy and takes his dog. And I was not... I think you were the first one to interpret what this was. I wasn't sure because she was saying something about like,
you're helping me.
You're helping me, get my inner predator out. It feels good. Something like that.
Right.
So the predator was a big part. So I was like, well, that's weird. I mean, was Teddy ever a predator? Who is this really? But you said...
Charlotte's taking over.
Right.
How is that possible? Charlotte doesn't have a marble wait. Charlotte does have a marble and it's in, I don't know.
Well, Charlotte has a book.
Charlotte has a book.
In the forge, for sure. Because there's a book for everybody that's been to the park, as far as we know. And hell, Charlotte's fucked in the park. She fucked Hector, at the very least. I'm sure she's fucked other robots, so they have her juices.
Ooh. Okay.
They put her in one of those little vials and analyzed her. So they they have a book on her. And I think that was somewhere along the line. I mean, they must have imprinted. You couldn't role play as Charlotte unless you knew who Charlotte was, right? Mm-hmm. Like she recognized Jake, her ex-husband, when she saw him. So she must have been calling on some page in that book. So I'm thinking, much like in season 2, when Bernard had Ford in his head programmed in there must be something similar going on with Charlotte, where it's whoever, Teddy, Clementine, someone. It's that person's marble, but Dolores had to load in Charlotte's personality to get a realistic roleplay. And then Charlotte's trying to bust out. It was
this is so confusing.
What was that movie we watched with the kid that had the serial killer inside him? Oh, I can't remember now. Gifted?
I don't know.
Something like that. It's about this super smart boy that turned out to have a serial killer's reincarnated soul.
Right.
And it was like slowly taking the boy
over. Kind of like
over.
Candyman.
Does Candyman do that? I've never seen Candyman.
Something like that. Or maybe that was at the end.
Yeah, it was something like that. I mean, so Charlotte, the predator, even though she's dead, her personality is coming out.
Mm-hmm. So strange.
Other person's trying to pretend to be her.
I don't understand.
I mean, artificial intelligences are complicated. They're not made to do long-term LARPing, I
Charlotte's
guess.
like a virus. She's just like taking over everything.
Yes. That's going to be a little Matrixy, isn't it? Wasn't someone in the Matrix taking people over like a virus?
I don't know.
The agent.
I have to go watch it again.
The Matrix?
Was that what? Yeah. Because now I'll understand much more. Because I haven't watched it for 20 years.
Yeah. I think the thing I'm thinking of is maybe Matrix 2 or 3, though. It's not good.
Okay.
They're making another Matrix movie. Soon.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're working on it. I don't know how that's possible because
they're still making John Wick.
John Wick's amazing, though. No one watched John Wick 2 and 3 and were like, these weren't really that good. Like,
no, that's true.
The Matrix 2 and 3 were not good. Okay, so Charlotte seems to be taking over. I think you're right on that. The personality, it's not the marble anymore. It's Charlotte taking over the marble, which is going to make the season really weird. And I feel bad for whoever that is.
Yeah.
And then Charlotte's last bit was at the end of the episode here. So we see her.
Okay, wait. Stop for a second. Another point to make.
Yes.
Dolores is also Wyatt.
Yes.
And other people, maybe, probably. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's kind of the same thing there, too.
Could be. And Dolores found a way to reconcile it. She merged with Wyatt to become badass season 2 Dolores.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe Charlotte, whoever that is, needs to figure out the same trick.
Maybe Dolores can do it to her.
Or teach her how to do it.
Probably not. No? I think somebody's on a one-way trip to
Charlottesville?
Yes. Very good.
Okay. So last bit of Charlotte, she's in her office. She's watching the recording again, and we get more information from it this time. More of the whole recording before she sings. She's talking about how she realized she was trying to build a life for them, and she's sorry that she hasn't been a good mom, but now she's realizing none of that matters. Only Nathan matters. Did that strike you as a bunch of bullshit? Or do you think it was sincere?
Well, I mean, why would somebody record it if it wasn't sincere? Just to make their son feel better?
If we assume that she does actually love her son, fine. She could record it just to make him feel better because she thinks she's going to die. But, I mean, if nothing else matters and she just wants her son, that I feel like that doesn't explain any of her actions in season 2, where she was still the predator. Playing games and manipulating people and then...
I don't know.
Killing people. She killed fucking Elsie.
Maybe her son's not even real.
It's a robot son.
Maybe they did that to control her, like they did with Maeve. Maybe it's a robot son. Who knows? I cannot ever analyze things and know that it's not fake.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It just bugged me a little bit. That's all. But while I was taking notes, I missed that Charbot, whatever she is, was crying over this recording of her son.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Charbot has feelings.
She's not supposed to, but now she does. And then as she's on her way home, she's playing with those screech mails again. Now she has 4 of them. And when she plays them in rapid succession... Come on. Tell us, babe. What happens? What happens when she plays them?
It plays a song, You Are My Sunshine.
Yeah, it sure does. Whoever wanted to get a message to her took 4 days to do it.
Right. Why didn't they just call her up and say, hey? Yeah, they had to do this weird... See, that's the thing. It must have been like implanting something in her head. Maybe that's what was making Charlotte take over.
The screech mail is manipulating her.
Maybe the screech mail was, making her
That's a fun theory. I like that.
Because why else would they bother with that whole stupid thing? It was kind of stupid. It was meaningless.
It was a strange little reveal, yeah. Mm-hmm. But she figures it out, plays those tones over the phone call, and then says to no one, I want to meet. Because she doesn't know what's happening. And sure enough, the car suddenly locks its doors and takes over. She seems upset at first, which, like, you just asked for this, lady. And she winds up at this huge estate with really big doors and meets a hologram of Serac. Right.
We didn't know it was a hologram at first.
Well, they put the glasses on her.
I didn't even.
And he shimmered.
I kept thinking, why are those? What's up with the glasses? I forgot about the.
Yeah, okay. I thought he shimmered like once or twice, but I was also looking for it. It was, it was pretty good hologram, I guess. Mm-hmm. Okay, so turns out she's the mole, or at least one of the moles.
She's a mole.
She's been working for Serac the whole time.
That's what's on her cheek.
That's really on the nose foreshadowing. On the cheek foreshadowing. He wants Delos's dirty secret. And the dirty secret appears to be that they kept these files on all of their guests. Which is a secret, but he's in charge of Rehoboam. So
that's why he wants the files.
But he already knows everything about everyone.
No, there's some missing. He didn't get all the files about all the people that have been to Westworld, and that's what he wants.
Well, those are all the elites.
Right.
Those are the people he wants sway over, I suppose.
Right. And he's missing some.
What is his motivation? Is he trying to make a better world? Is he just a megalomaniac that wants power? Or what's his real motivation?
That's what somebody said.
I mean, he might have been the one that said it to Maeve, that he's trying to make the world a more orderly, better place. But I'm just wondering, is that really his motivation?
Or is he like Jeff Bezos?
He just wants all the power and all the money, and he doesn't care.
I don't know. He seems. We don't know. They haven't showed enough of him, so we can't.
Don't know.
I don't know.
Learn. So he wants this. He tried warning. She says, like, the data's out there. We didn't know. There was no way we could have predicted. And we know what his game is, so that's a funny word she's using. But there's no way we could have predicted what was going to happen with the uprising and the losing of the data. But it's out there somewhere. And he's like, well, I tried to warn you. I knew this was going to happen. But he figured out that the key is Dolores. It's in her head. Like the location of the data and probably the encryption key for it. It's all in her head. So they need to find her. And Charlotte says, I'm working on it. I just need more time. Or I'm working on
she knows where Dolores is.
Well, of course. Well, yeah, but she
needs the coordinates.
She's playing the game right now. She's not going to tell Serac that. I don't think she...
Yeah, she can't just say to Dolores, give me those coordinates, lady.
You might be right that Charlotte's going to take over. Did you say that here, or did you say this while we were watching? That Charlotte's going to fully take over and become Dolores's enemy. You were postulating that at one point. You might be right, but she's not there yet. So she's not going to just give Dolores up. But she might. But she said from like the Delos side, they're working on figuring out where the data is. She just needs more time, but then they got to pull the encryption key out of Dolores' brain.
She seems to genuinely want to care about Nathan. I don't know if she really does or if she's just trying to be that role or both. If that's the case, wouldn't she... I mean, how could she be that bad? How could she go against Dolores? She's got feelings for her son.
Money. She's working for Serac.
She's trying to make a better life.
She's trying to make a better life.
I don't know. She's pretty emotional. She seems like she might be having an episode.
Thoughts? Well, this isn't really Charlotte. So real Charlotte was doing it, I assume, for the money or power or something, the building a better life. Fine. So what is this version of Charlotte going to be motivated by? That we don't know. Will she really work for Serac, or is she just trying to buy time because she's trying to help Dolores start the revolution?
I don't know.
We don't know. Speaking of Dolores and the revolution, so that was where it ended for Charlotte. Serac fades away. Assumedly, Charlotte gets to go home. All right, so let's talk about Caleb and Dolores some more. After the hotel scene, Dolores, I think on her way out of the hotel, called up what was his name? Wait. First of all, Caleb, we see him going somewhere and his crime app buzzes and it offers him a high profile target.
Himself.
Caleb, yeah. That probably is not a good feeling.
No.
Yeah.
It's like the Kingsman.
So he's in the hospital with his mom and it looks like it's the Alzheimer's thing. We weren't sure what was wrong with her exactly last time because she seemed kind of hateful to him. So maybe he's just a fuck up.
Right. She's got dementia or Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm. So she does not know who he is. And she says, "Who are you?" which is the theme of the episode. But as he's leaving her, says, "I got to go for a while." Seems really broken up about not seeing his mom anymore, but he's got to go. And then thugs intercept him at the airport. They want the girl.
Right. So this was very confusing.
How's that?
Well, they take him to his place of work. The construction site, right?
Well, we'll get to that. Okay, that's any second now. But just before that happens, Dolores is leaving the hotel, and she calls up the Scott guy, who it turns out his name is Connells or Connells, I don't know, but it showed up on the subtitles. Mm-hmm. So she has him spying on Liam, trying to get more information about Rehoboam, and she also asks for intel on Caleb.
Right.
And then she speeds off on a motorcycle. So instantly she knows he's in trouble. They find him immediately on a security camera at the hospital. So because
they're everywhere.
She goes off to presumably save him. So, okay, you were saying they take him to his place of work.
Right. And so when they open his mouth, I thought I saw something shiny in there, like on the ridges.
No, you definitely did.
Okay. And then they inject it with something.
Well, there was a spark. I think I think it was like a soldering iron or something. They just turned it back on. They didn't really explain what it was, but in episode 1, there was some mention of him never turning back on his unit. Some kind of thing. It sounded like there was an implant inside him. That was the impression I got from episode 1.
Okay, and then did they give him a drug?
I think it was the drug.
So you think that's what they did to him?
They called it a drip. They said something like, "You turned off your drip." That's a real crime. People would kill for that thing or something like that. And then they spark it.
They cranked his drip up.
They cranked up his drip. We should look that up on Urban Dictionary and find out what that really means, to crank up someone's drip.
Ew.
They cranked his drip up and he starts freaking out. So I was trying to figure out what that means. Are there drugs inside that thing that's in his mouth? Or maybe it's an adrenal booster and it's making his body shoot up, just go crazy with adrenaline.
Maybe. Now, they did that on their own tablet?
It seemed like it.
Or did he have a tablet that they took out of his backpack or something?
No, they must have hacked into his mouth. You know how that goes. There's USB ports everywhere.
That's a problem.
Oh, that's probably what that spark was. That was the Bluetooth indicator. And then they were able to just pair with his mouth and control.
That was it, pairing.
Yeah. That was the pairing. In the future, pairing is painful and has sparks. I mean,
it was a sharp needle-looking thing. It looked like a meat thermometer.
Mm-hmm. I thought they were going to pry it out of his mouth to get money.
Right, I thought they were going to, some laser was going to shoot out and they were going to cut it out.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
It reminds me of what they have. They have, implants like that for snoring.
Huh. That's interesting.
I saw it once. Yeah.
I don't know if I want that, but I'm intrigued.
Yeah, for sleep apnea.
All right.
But that was long ago.
Well, we'll talk more about that some other time because I'm curious. As a wearer of a mask every night. Okay, so they start pumping him up with something. His drip. They pump his drip. And his drip starts going crazy. His heartbeat's going crazy.
It's about to explode.
He seems to be in pain, which may be because his heart's going to explode. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of all this, they're threatening to throw him off the building unless he gives up the information about the girl.
He can't even talk.
A robot activates. And I guess it must have been his buddy that we saw in episode 1.
It's his lunch buddy. Worker buddy.
Did his worker buddy come up there on its own accord, or was that Dolores?
I don't know. I'd like to think it was his own accord. Because that's adorable.
It's sort of a nicer story.
And he wasn't going to hurt those people. He was just trying to save his friend. He was going to pull him back. It's probably a safety thing.
Yeah, it was a safety thing. He knew his friend was on the ledge. Oh, that's really smart. That's probably what happened.
A robot.
I was hoping he was going to turn into a killbot and pull these guys' heads off.
But
But he didn't really do anything. He just walked over there, and then the guy pushes him off the edge. He's a meanie.
He sure was.
Well, he got his because Dolores shows up a few seconds later and pops both those guys.
Yep.
They're dead.
She's a badass. Did you see the heels she's wearing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They were nice.
Crazy. Can't run in that.
Probably not good for your feet, though.
She's a robot, though.
Yeah, she has robo feet. It's okay. She'll be fine. Okay, so Dolores does, in fact, save Caleb. And he's like, who are you? And then she tells him her actual name, Dolores. Says, nice to meet you.
She trusts him. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's nice. I hope they get to... Do you think they'll get to be romantic?
Well, that depends on where Teddy is. Or who Teddy is. Although these robots are kind of polyamorous. They might be okay with all that. It'd be kind of cool if they fell in love. If you had, bridging the gap between these species. Yeah.
It would make Dolores be a little more nice to humankind.
Right. Right. To know that some humans, well, maybe she does know that not all humans are bad. I mean, she's definitely out to get the elites. It's a real the rich situation.
Bernard makes it sound like she's going to burn the whole world down.
It's true. Bernard is afraid that she's going to try to take down all of humanity.
Did she tell him that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He must just know what she's capable of. She did kill a lot of humans in the park.
Well, she wanted to get out?
Yeah, but she didn't have to kill them all. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Dolores calls the Scotsman, orders a scrub of all records of this Caleb dude.
How are they getting into this? How are they going to roboho him? Which it's actually a different Rehoboam.
I hate it so much. Maybe it's going to mean something. Maybe it's like Rosebud in Citizen Kane or something. Like at the end of the season, Rehoboam is actually going to have some deep meaning.
It will.
We're all going to cry.
It will. What is that backwards?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, you didn't spell it right. You didn't spell it right there.
Malbahor.
Because it's
Malbahor. Something about whores. All right. So she takes him to breakfast. Weird, but cool. I mean, I'd appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And it turns out she knows him way too well. She orders exactly what he orders and then winds up showing him a transcript of a conversation from when he was a little boy and his mom abandoned him.
Right. That was weird looking paper. Like it was all big letters.
Well, I think it was on the tablet.
It was on a tablet, but it was like lined paper or something. And right. It was like a scan.
Yeah.
So how, like, a camera just recorded everything everybody ever does, and then somebody transcribes it, or it transcribes it onto paper.
Well,
and then somebody took a picture or a scan of it.
I'm sure it transcribes it into the database, but... Yeah.
She printed out... Oh, that's her book. She took a picture of it with her eyeballs.
Does he have a book? He has a book in Rehoboam.
He must have a book.
So... Connell must have used Liam's access to get at Caleb's records in Rehoboam.
Who was Connell again?
He's the Scottish guy.
Okay. Yeah, who's he? How is he getting into all of this stuff?
Whose marble is that? That could be Teddy.
Could be.
Teddy was the tough guy.
Could be.
We don't know who all the marbles are. That's going to bug me.
Well, she didn't hang out with a whole bunch of people. That's the thing. She only knew Teddy and Ford and Bernard and her dad.
Oh, her dad.
And her horse.
Oh, God. Please let one of the future robots just be a horse.
Now, her dad is pretty fucked up in the brain. His marble got damaged for sure. Remember?
Yeah, he was scrambled.
Maybe it's her dad.
Maybe.
Could be.
Anything's possible. I don't.
She's the only one she trusts. He's the only one she trusts.
He would have been confused like a lost child.
Right.
He was trying to figure out who he
was. Like a lost child when they brought him back online, remember?
That's an interesting idea. Could be Daddy.
And he was the one that had the shit in his head.
The shit?
He had the data in his head, remember?
Holy fuck. They were trying to smuggle him out of the park.
Right. because they put the data in his head. Did they find him?
Yeah, what happened to that? They were trying to get him out of the park, I think, on a train.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what happened to him.
I think he left. Did he come back? Did they get him back?
Oh, shit. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that mission failed, but the marbles are nigh indestructible. So it's possible. You could be right. That could be Dolores' dad. Wow. That's a blast from the past. Okay. I like it. Gonna have to Google that.
So now Charlotte herself has the data in her own head about where the coordinates are. Or did that happen before? Oi.
Well, no, because they made a copy of a bunch of data and put it on Dad's marble. But that is different from what happened in season 2, because where they broadcasted the encrypted data.
Right, and it went into like, what's that zone that Superman puts the 3 captain...
The Phantom Zone?
The Phantom Zone. That's where it is at. Yes.
All right, I pulled it up here. Peter Abernathy. Let's find out real quick what happened to him, because I do not quite remember. Biography. No. I don't care if he's a cattle rancher. Okay. Let's just go to his last entry. That's probably all that matters, right? Nope, that's not it. Oh, okay. After the Peter Abernathy we see Dolores with in the original shows evidence of corrupt code, he is lobotomized and decommissioned in cold storage. Oh, he got replaced. Oh, God dang it. Okay, so this is talking about the character. So he got replaced, and fuck it. I'll look it up later.
Okay.
Or if anyone remembers, write in.
Mm-hmm, I'm sure lots of people remember.
Jeff@potofthrones.com or
Jennifer@potofthrones.com.
That's right. Tell us what we're forgetting here about the fate of Peter Abernathy, the original Peter Abernathy, not the sham replacement. Okay, interesting ideas all around. What else? Okay, so it's the whole thing about Caleb's past, and it's kind of crazy. He is quote unquote enraged. He wants to know how the fuck she knows everything that happened to him as a little boy, right down to like what he would order with like nuts sprinkled on top and a strawberry milkshake and all that stuff. And she says it's the Insight Corporation and this thing called Rehoboam. So they are logging everything everybody does, every decision everybody makes. And she says that what they've done with it is create a mirror world of this world. And they're using that to, I think that's their prediction engine, right? So they log everything you do so that they can predict what you will eventually do. And she says it's not about who you are. It's about who they'll let you become.
Right.
And we get more of that in just a few minutes. So after breakfast, I wonder if he ate. Do you think he ate the breakfast?
No.
I would have. I would have been pretty hungry. After all that adrenaline.
I would eat it too. I would eat it right now.
Fucking waffles and milkshake. Oh, God, kill me. Okay. She takes him to a pier and says, this is where you're going to kill yourself.
Right. Oh, it's so sad.
I thought that this was going to be you have to fake your death. And then
I thought
we're giving
she
you a
was
new
like
identity.
right now. No, yeah. I'm talking like right now.
Yeah. I thought that was going in that direction. But it turns out that Rehoboam thinks that he is going to kill himself sometime in the next 10 to 12 years on this pier. He's going to jump to his death because he has a history of depression and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
And this was a meaningful place to him when he was a kid. And he comes here a lot as it stands right now and thinks about ending it all.
So sad. Aww.
She knew all that. She knows him better than he knows himself.
Oh, so his mom is schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they talked about that.
So
maybe
she's probably
maybe not
just
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, her brain's probably just mush.
Probably.
Oh, so
too
sad.
bad in the future they can kill all the elephants, but they can't figure out how to stop dementia or schizophrenia or Alzheimer's. Or
yeah, really. Great job.
Yeah. Good job, everybody. Elephants never forget. You could have used that information if you hadn't killed them all.
Maybe that's what they did. They were trying to extract it.
Well, they did a bad job.
Yeah.
Like a really bad job. And now they're all out of supplies.
Oh, Charlotte's going to take Nathan to see real elephants in Westworld.
Fake elephants, you mean?
I mean, fake
That
elephants.
that would be pretty cool. That might be more like a season 4 thing.
Maybe.
I hope we do get there. That'd be fun. That's a fun idea. Okay. So she shows him her tablet again, and this time it's got like his dossier. And it was interesting seeing what they're saying about him. The ones I took note of were that it says marriage not recommended, children not approved.
What?
And her thing is like, they're keeping you in these jobs where you can either be a construction worker or a criminal. They're trying to keep your social status low. They're giving you very few choices. They want to make sure that you don't have options to get married and that you're not going to have kids and that you will eventually kill yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the plan that they've decided for you.
And is that because they're trying to breed people like him out?
I don't know. I mean, you need people like him. He runs fiber and new building construction. Like, you need someone to do that, but he's expendable.
You need a high turnover because we got a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. They don't care about him. So it's okay if he kills himself. In fact, 10 to 12 years from now, he's probably physically on the decline.
Sure.
Right?
He would just be a burden on society.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably all it is.
Kill yourself when you're useless.
Let him be miserable. He'll kill himself. It's fine. We just wipe the slate clean, replace him with some other schmuck.
So sad.
I mean, that's not exactly unrealistic. I mean, society right now isn't.
Right.
The
They're
more
not
poor
giving
you
any.
are, the less
You don't get a leg
given.
up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. Okay, so he wants to know why she's telling him all this, and it's because they're a lot alike. She never had any choices either. Right? And she says, I can give you money and you can run. And he says, well, what if I stay? What are you going to do? And she says she's going to start a revolution. And it appears that the whole plot is that she needs to destroy Rehoboam.
Because it's controlling people?
I guess so, yeah.
And she wants to control them?
If her true enemy is just the elites and not all of humanity, the elites are running everything right now, and Rehoboam is keeping the little people down. It's making sure they don't have choices.
Okay, so she's like Robin Hood.
I guess so. She already stole from the rich, give it to herself, but... Yeah.
Where did we find out where the money is coming from?
Yes. She said, "Oh, it was that guy that she killed in the very first, in the beginning of the first episode. That super rich guy who, like, tried to bonk Dolores on the head, but then hurt himself and slipped in a pool. And remember all that?
Yeah.
She put the illusion glasses on his face so that he could see his wife, his ex-wife that he like killed after beating her for years and years.
Right.
All that stuff. She told him that she had already taken most of his money.
Okay.
And then
I think I vaguely remember that. Yes.
She was going to leave him alive to suffer.
It was a nice house.
It was a nice house. Nice wife. Gets to be a widow now.
Right.
Yeah. All that. So yeah, that's where she got the money from. She's going to use it to fund a revolution.
Seems like a lot of money.
Yeah. It seems like she's already practically in Rehoboam, but just not quite enough to erase it.
Doesn't Rehoboam know about her?
No, she's not human. She wouldn't have anything on file with Rehoboam because...
But it sees her because it sees everybody.
I mean, that's an interesting question. I don't know.
Can it not see her because she's not a life
Well, there's
form?
cameras everywhere.
Right.
Charlotte told us that. That guy had a blocking device for cameras in the park. So you can block the cameras, but yeah, that does mean that something's always watching you. And that's probably how they have a full recording of Caleb's childhood.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Do you think they have cameras in your home?
I don't know. Maybe.
You think there's cameras watching us right now?
Well, yeah, our phones are sitting here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Fuck. That's how Rehoboam starts.
Yep.
It's because they're listening to everything we say all the time right now. Fuck. God damn it. Westworld is true.
It's real.
I think it's real. It's starting. Like, we're just at the start of it now, but this is exactly where it's going. Fuck. Maybe we should stop like, our phones are little pocket computers, and no one really likes talking on the phone anymore, so maybe we should just destroy the microphones in our phones.
No, because...
So they
I like to give it notes sometimes.
So for the convenience of dictating to it,
right?
It will record everything you do in life and decide your ultimate fate. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're okay with that for convenience's sake?
No, not really. But I'm not capable of believing that yet. I mean, I know it is, but
no, I mean, it all makes sense. We know that they're recording us. They use it just now for like targeted ads. Like no one's analyzing everything we say, but everything we say is going into a database where keywords are being plucked out. Right. So if I'm sitting here and I've done this experiment, sometimes
let's do it right now. Let's talk about something.
Okay. Well, where's my phone? All right. My phone is over here. So what should we have a conversation about? If there's one thing we need to buy in the near future, it's
we need a dresser or some kind of piece of furniture.
We need to buy some new furniture for our bedroom. We've got an empty space. We're not sure what kind of furniture to get. If only we knew about a quality furniture provider, maybe something we can find online.
Right.
If we knew who to buy from, that would make things so much easier.
I agree.
Also, our girls are getting older. Mm-hmm. They're starting to learn how to drive.
Right.
And I've really been thinking about Volkswagen a lot.
Volkswagen.
I don't know much about the company Volkswagen, but if I did.
I had a Volkswagen.
You had a Volkswagen once?
I did. I had a Volkswagen.
Tell me about your Volkswagen.
Well, it was a Jetta. It was black. I loved it. It was neat.
You loved your Volkswagen?
It took me a while to figure out because it's got like backward reverse because it's German, I believe. Yes. And I really liked it. It was a little cute, little sporty, speedy.
Well, there you go. So if I was thinking about buying a car sometime soon,
I would suggest a Volkswagen.
A Volkswagen could be a good choice.
Jetta. Sure.
Because right now we have a Hyundai and we have a Honda.
Right.
But a Volkswagen, you think, maybe Volkswagen is what we should do.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm going to set my phone down now. We'll let you know next week if I start getting weird targeted ads.
I bet you could look at it right now and there would be an ad somewhere.
Oh, that would just make me cry. We got to give the system at least a couple minutes to process. But I have done that. I've seen it in action, that certain things I'm talking about with people that I did not search for online start coming up as ads, targeted ads on websites.
Right.
Like so the system's already there. And it's already automated, but right now it's only being used for ads. It's not unreasonable to think that a time could come when Amazon and Apple and Google all get together under one super rich person's banner, take all of the data they have about us, and merge it into one super brain.
Well, they have all of our DNA.
Maybe that's where Rehoboam came from. Maybe that's in the fake world. Maybe in our world, it would be like Googapplazon. Like that would be the name of our Googapplazon.
Googapplazon.
that would be the name of the super brain that controls us.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Rehoboam was just those companies in the fake world.
We should research. Maybe there's some companies we can come up with.
Okay. All hail Googapplazon. Our Lord and Savior. All right. Well, anyway, we'll let you know how the data experiment turns out and how the AI is controlling our lives. And I think that's enough for now, don't you? Any other thoughts on this episode?
Oh, goodness. We didn't see any of Bernard.
Nope.
None of course, Ashley. And who else?
Well, we know next week's episode is going to focus on Maeve and William.
Maeve and William.
So those will be probably our A and B storylines.
Yeah. Older man in black.
Right. Old William. Young William could still be in a marble.
Old William is definitely a host now, right?
I think he's definitely a host.
There's no real William.
I don't think there's any way. There was that stinger at the end of the season that we forgot about when we did our rewatch of season 2. But at that point, his daughter came in and interviewed. No, that was the first guy. That was Delos himself.
Oh.
But we saw his daughter come in and start interviewing him with that fidelity test. And he was in that same apartment. Like, he's definitely a robot.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll see.
If he's not a robot, he's got a fucked up hand. And
does he still?
Well, he would have to. But he doesn't in the preview, I don't think.
If he's a robot, he can just heal it with a zapper dapper.
Well, he would need a new hand. Like, his hand got blown off. The zapper dapper only fixes skin. In any case, I'm pretty damn sure he's a robot. And he's kind of going crazy in this next episode. And I think that's, again, all that fidelity stuff. He's just a botched experiment.
Right.
And is the fidelity stuff part of the reason Charlotte's going crazy, too? Like, she hasn't been rebooted in a while. So I'm not sure what's what.
She didn't go through fidelity testing. Dolores didn't have time for that shit.
Of course not.
Right.
But Dolores is the only one that can, like, handle long-term being online.
Why?
No one else can.
Why is that?
Because she's the special one.
Why was she special?
She's the first.
Is that why?
She's the original.
They never got it right again.
I guess not. Or Ford didn't get it right again on purpose. That's possible.
Mm-hmm. All right, well.
There's a lot more to learn. Mysteries are unfolding.
Tune in next week.
Same. Googapplezon on time.
Same Googapplazon. Googapplazon. Same Googapplazon plays.
That's right. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your Googapplezon lives.